everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things related to the storytelling industry. If you don't already know me, I write romance under my pen name, Emmy Laverne, and I write nonfiction books under my real name, Mary Ellen Quigley. But my one and only true love is reading, which is why I created a combination AuthorTube BookTube channel, but it's definitely more AuthorTube than BookTube. Today's video, we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. Before we get into that topic, I want to address the elephant in the room here. Am I in the same spot? Yes. Am I wearing the same outfit? Also yes, because I am batch recording today since I'm going to be out of town in a couple of weeks for the Haunted America Conference. Yay! My sister and I got invited to be vendors at the Haunted America Conference. We went last year. So fun. If you love ghosts and paranormal, it is like loads of fun. I'm so excited to go back this year. Also, Troy Taylor, who, like, if you love paranormal, you have to love Troy Taylor. Otherwise, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life? Okay. Anyways, we're going to be vendors there. And I am so excited to be vendors again with my peoples. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're talking about imposter syndrome. I deal with imposter syndrome majorly, and I know I am not the only author who has this. So first of all, what do I mean by imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome, in my opinion, is basically this feeling as though I'm just not as good as other people. And what I'm referring to is my writing career. I compare myself to others a lot. I hate to admit that I do that, but I compare myself to others in a lot of things, not just in my writing career, just in general. I tend to be very, I compare myself way more than I should. And in my writing career, it's even more so. About a week before I left, I'm on vacation. It's my last day of vacation from work. I'm very sad because I went by too quickly and I don't want to give up my freedom. But anyway, I actually admitted for the very first time to my coworkers that I have a podcast and that I'm a writer. It's not something that I even brought up to my coworkers, and I've been at this company for just under 2 years. It'll be 2 years in August. Part of the reason I've done that is because I never feel like I'm as good as everybody else. I finally had this realization when I was looking at my sister and my podcast on Podbean and looking at our analytics and how our podcast has grown. We started it in 2020 as a hobby during the pandemic because we were bored and looking for something to do. So we started a podcast, and here we are in 2024. We have a traditionally published book that came from the podcast, a second book in the works that'll be published hopefully in 2025 if all goes well, right? We are speaking at events. We are vendors at events. We have been invited to be speakers on panels at events. Like, we're getting speaking events from this podcast. We have been invited to be on several interview shows, other podcasts. Like, I'm proud of us for being where we are today from a hobby. And then we just launched our second podcast, and I was listening to our very first ever podcast episode we ever recorded way back in March of 2020 and compared it with our most recent episode. The audio quality, the editing, the script writing, like totally different podcasts. I mean, we're 100% self-taught. And it's the same thing with my self-publishing career. I self-published my first book in 2011, and it was horrible. It was a horrible book. And then I looked at that book I released in 2022, and I was like, it's like night and day. I am self-taught on literally everything, but I have come so far. But I'm still embarrassed to tell people I don't know I'm a writer. Why is that? You know what I mean? And I'm not a bestseller. I'm not, I'm not like some crazy famous person in writing. In fact, my self-publishing career is kind of crappy, to be fair. My traditionally published book actually did really well for a local history paranormal, book. But like, why am I so embarrassed to tell people that I'm a writer? And like, why is that a thing for me? And I also realized this when I was at my first author fair, which I know I talked about it. I think I did on this channel. I know I did on my TikTok. But I talked about my first author fair experience, and one of the things that I realized was I'm really bad at promoting myself because I always feel really uncomfortable kind of tooting my own horn, so to speak. And I thought it was interesting, and I wonder how many other authors deal with this, because I don't necessarily know that it's a self-esteem issue. It has to be connected a little bit to like a self-esteem issue, but I just never feel like anything I do is good enough. I'm also embarrassed to put myself out there because I feel like I don't deserve the publicity. I don't know. I don't know. Am I the only person who deals with this? I feel like I can't be. So a couple of things I have been doing to hopefully help with this situation. The first one is I added my podcast and my writing to my profiles online. So I added it to my LinkedIn, added it to my Facebook profile, added it to my email signature line for my personal email. So like my Mary Ellen Quigley email, I have podcaster, writer, digital content creator. And I was like, it feels uncomfortable to give myself titles like that, but that's essentially what I'm doing, you know? And that's kind of the first step I took. The second step I took was that I had to go to a couple of networking events for work. And usually I shy away. Oh, what do you like to do for hobbies? Oh, I like to read or something like that. But this time out, they were like, hey, when you're not working, what do you like to do in your free time? Well, my sister and I have a podcast. I'm also an author, so we're working on our next book together. And I made that a part of the conversation, whereas before, they would ask me, or they would be like, oh, I see you have a podcast. And I would do this, I would do this, right? I'd be like, yeah. Like, girls say it with confidence. I'm a writer, and I'm a podcaster. Boom. Confidently. Quit being like, no, I guess. No, guess. You are. Own it. And that's kind of my first step forward to like, why are you hiding it like it doesn't exist? I mean, literally, Google my name. It's there. If I ever were to apply to another job down the road and they Google my name, Mary Ellen Quigley, it comes up that I have 2 podcasts and several books out. Like, my pen name stuff even comes up because y'all know I don't hide my pen name. So, I mean, it's not like it's hard to find what I do online. Why am I so scared? Why am I so scared to admit it? And for me, I think what it really boils down to is just low self-esteem. I just really never feel like anything I do is good enough. And I hate that I feel that way, but I also know that I'm probably not the only person who feels this way. So what are some things that you do to kind of boost your self-esteem and to make you proud and able to share the fact that you write with other people? Or are you even there yet? Are you like me and you just are kind of like, don't want to tell anybody because you're like embarrassed or something? It's not even that I'm embarrassed. It's that I'm afraid that they'll find out that I'm a writer or something and they'll think it's terrible, which is so stupid. But I would love to know, if you were in that same situation, what do you do to get past like low self-esteem or whatever and to just like be proud of who you are and what you've accomplished? If you enjoyed my video, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, or subscribe if you have not already done so. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye!